2024 was the first year I ever made it to the world of concrete, and what I'm about to show you is going to blow your freaking mind. The first booth I stopped by was Diablo. Now I'm going to tell you, it was extremely impressive what they had going on. They just announced some new blades. If you're a contractor, like plumbing, masonry, whatever, it doesn't matter. The fabrication blades, everything was here, and what I'm about to show you, I think you're going to absolutely love. Now I'm going to do this video a little bit different. I'm going to keep my yapper shut because they did such a good job presenting this. I'm just going to let them do the work. Now I do want to state a couple things before I get this video started. Number one, everybody there was awesome. Except for this guy here. His name's Vance from Vegan Cookies Good Construction. In order for him to visit your booth, you have to have Philly cheesesteaks on hand. Anyway, look at his scowl. He was moody the entire time. Let's move it along. But all of the Diablo reps, they were super helpful, super knowledgeable, and just really, really awesome. Well, number two, the stage itself was legit. It was probably the best at World of Concrete. And number three, a lot of people in the shorts video saying that, well, they twisted the blade or they made it not work. No, we got to use these blades. We got to do the demonstration. There's no hocus pocus here. Every demonstration they did, we got to try ourselves. And number two, every time they used a competitor blade, they used a new competitor blade. There was nothing that was already dulled out or used before. So with that said, let's use and abuse the slice and dice and see what Diablo has going on in the world of concretists in 2024.
All right, again, we're at the World of Concrete at the Diablo booth. I'll tell you what, listen, wait until you see this. I think there's like 19 fasteners in this piece of footage. And they're gonna cut through this thing. And not only did they cut through this once, I've seen them do this test already multiple times on the same blade. So basically like 40 fasteners on one blade, which is insane. But they're setting it up right now. Now I'm gonna let you see it. I'm gonna record it. Here we go. So they're already on this side here.
Now that might be amazing to you, and it was. There was 20 fasteners in there, but this is not the first time he went through this. It's like the second time he went through that with the same blade. And what's crazy about this is look at the blade. You would imagine that there would be a lot of teeth like just chopped off when they were slicing and dicing to use and abusing, but there was nothing at all wrong with the tools of that blade. Slice and dice and use and abusing through those fasteners right there, which is insane. And that is the blade that they used right here. That, my friend's real nice like. But let's move it over to another awesome demonstration that they did. Instead of grinding down your metal, let's cut it.
All right, so now something really cool. This is the Steel Demon 14-inch cermet. And look at the steel. What we got here?
So this is A36 construction steel. This is 1/4-inch wall, 2.5-inch square tube. We're going to show you the traditional method cutting with cut-off abrasive wheel. We're going to show you that it's not the best way to cut. It's going to create a lot of heat, a lot of sparks. It's going to be an extremely slow cut. Better, newer solution, we're going to show you our 14-inch cermet blade. We'll show you how fast, easy, and effectively it cuts. We'll give you a finished product demonstration.
Awesome. Wait till you see the difference in this. Again, if you're dealing with hot work permits, you know, this is a game changer. All right, so this is your basic standard, we'll just say generic blade. On your chop saw. That's what you're usually dealing with. He didn't even get a whole way through, and it's, you see the sparks.
You see that whole time just to get through the top.
Yeah.
It made a heavy burn in the process.
Yeah, so you're seeing that burn on there, discoloration on the steel, super hot, right? You're not going to be able to touch that, but now check this out. Can I come over this way?
I'm going to take my mask off and show you this because this is the difference of cutting versus grinding.
Sure. Look at that. That is insane. Now look at the finished product. No heat,
That's 1/4 inch steel. You might think we're generating a lot of heat. In fact, it's the same temperature as before we cut it. All the heat leaves with the chips.
That's
it's
wild.
going to leave a nice polished finish. No heavy burring, no discoloration.
There you go. And that's a steel demon right there.
Now, sometimes when you're live, you're shooting live, it's a pain in the butt. My camera went a little bit out of focus, but they got an I-beam here. Don't worry, I got a whole nother clip after this one. They got an I-beam here that they cut through with the blade.
Cermet blade. This is going to be used on a standard wood cutting 7 1/4 circular saw. Because of the unique properties of our cermet teeth, its ability to withstand high operating temperatures, we can take a typical 6,000 RPM tool, not a dedicated metal cutting tool, and we have the ability to cut up to 1/2 inch steel. This is typical construction steel. We're going to cut down the flange of this, which is 1/2 inch. So it's 1/2 inch steel. You might expect that to be hot, but because we're cutting big chips away, we're not grinding, creating heat. This is going to be operating temperature, cool to the touch. Better yet, it's going to leave a perfect finish, clean edges. You're not going to have heavy burring, discoloration that comes along with the grinding process you'd use to with the typical abrasive cutoff disc.
So they were just going slicing and dicing and using and abusing through all kinds of metal. So if you're in fabrication or somebody's out on the job site that needs to cut some metal, well, this might be the saw blade for you. Let me show you one more cut with this. Diablo. Now, I absolutely love this demonstration. Everybody that's watching this video, I guarantee you use the hole saw, and you all end up with the same issues that I end up with and a lot of other people end up with. I'm going to let you hear what they have to say. I think you're going to think it's real nice like.
Can you hear me in the back? Awesome, awesome. All right, good deal. So you have a traditional mandrel system right here. You have your pilot bit, you have your arbor. Slide it in. Make sure you don't lose this little piece. Can you see that? Can you see that back there? You got to lock it in, right? So let's get that done. Locked in.
Yeah.
2-inch cup. Come back here. Thread it on. Oh, got to pull that back. Thread that on. There you go. And then lock in your dog ears. Now you're ready to drill a hole. But what if you have to go to a 7/8 hole saw? You're good with your 2-inch, but you need to drill with the 7/8. What do you have to do?
A different arbor.
You need a different arbor. So I'm coming over here, undo what I did. Maybe somebody on the job site doesn't know. Try to put this on, frustration, right? Going back again. All right, let me get my smaller one. Same system here. Gotta lock it in. See if we can get it seated. There you go. Lock that in. And then the whole thing over again, right? You're threading it back on, ready to drill your hole. With the Diablo Snap-Lock Plus system, we have a one-size-fits-all approach, right? You take your pilot bit, you snap it in, which is held with a ball bearing system. You're ready to go. Now anything from your smallest size hole saw to your largest hole saw fits on this one mandrel. So if I take a 7/8, slide that in, clicks right in, I'm good to go and drill my hole. If I want to move to a 2-inch like the Lennox we just did, click that right in, ready to go. What if I want to go to a 6-inch? Clicks right in, ready to go. What if I want to switch to a different application? Talk about rough-in hole saws. Slide that on and we're good to go. So across every system here, one mandrel fits all of our cup types.
huge breakthrough. So that we changed everything in terms of the mandrel, and these mandrels cost $22 to $25. So not only are we talking about what's on the marketplace today that you have to buy 2 mandrels per series of hole saws, you also have different mandrels as you move on, if that makes sense. So you can buy 4, 5, 6, $23, $24 mandrel and not have them on the, not ready to go. So we have an ecosystem designed around one mandrel every one of our hole saws. The other thing we do too, from here over, is we go to 60 millimeters depth versus the market it's at 42 millimeters. And what that gives you is you go through 2x material and also 1/2-inch kind of sheathing, one pass. So this is tremendous feedback that we get from the market. If you don't need to do that, great. If you need it, you're able to do one pass, especially if you're approaching a wall and you're going through it, you can't go to the other side. Huge advantage. So this is our ecosystem. We've introduced our Steel Demon for a conduit, metal cutting, for granite material, our typical bimetal with our carbide, first in the world, introducing carbide tip that you can actually drill a cast iron and stainless steel with a hole saw, which is changing plumbers, especially in a commercial job site. And today we're introducing our rough-in carbide tip hole saws. So you guys know that either self-feed or rough-in hole saws, you look at state of the market, there's some good quality ones out there, but they're slow and they're not as durable. And so what we've done essentially is redesign that, making it much more cost efficient and productive for the users, and making it extend the battery life of the existing designs on the marketplace. So Steve, Logan, how do we show this?
All right, yeah, so we have a piece of stud material here, 2x. We would put that up. You might be drilling horizontally, you might be drilling vertically. What we're gonna do is we're gonna drill down with 10 pounds of weight, show the difference in the wear and tear on the tool, the wear and tear on the user. You can't always, in those applications, get behind the tool with your body, so you're in between studs. So we're gonna show you the difference there. I'm running with the Diablo, the new innovation that we've launched, and Steve has a competitive product on my right. So again, 10 pounds of weight, and we're just gonna let it go. We'll see our hands on top just to set it, and then we're gonna release it and let it cut. 3, 2, 1, go. So you can see,
Go ahead, now you got it. Yeah.
so you can see the productivity there, the wear and tear on the tool, the drain on the battery. You're able to get with your hand behind in a stud and go through easily with less resistance. So I think we're going to continue on this way.
So how did Forrest get their start? Well, we're really the first saw blade company to kind of break through where we were actually one of the last. One saw blade does it all, right? And so they created a general purpose blade, and for us, as you know, saw blade guys were like, oh, you know, everybody goes, what's the best blade I should use? We're like, well, what's your application? You know, are you ripping, are you cross cutting, you're cutting melamine, you're cutting laminate, whatever you're cutting, there's a dedicated blade for it. But what Forrest did a great job is they understood, hey, there's a lot of users that like put one blade on there and do everything. And Forrest did a very good job with that. They came out with the Woodworker 2, and it's phenomenal. Well, what we're launching here today is a Diablo blade, what we're calling Wood Demon, and it's a 40-tooth blade design, and the technology on here is absolutely insane. So for $50, it will rip and cross cut better than any other blade in the market. Will stand behind that. And so a Forrest blade will cost $200, this costs $50. So what's different about it? First of all, we're going to do the information. We're going to, I need 2 pieces of element. So the first thing we're doing here, thanks, is with the teeth itself, instead of cutting straight on like here, we're putting a shear on it, right? So intuitively, you know, when you're, say, skinning a potato, and you got, you know, a blade on itself, you know you're not going to go straight up and down. You're going to turn it, right? A peeler, you got to turn it, otherwise it's not going to work. Same thing for a saw blade. So we put a 4-degree shear every side. So instead of cutting, it slices. That reduces draw by 35%, in terms of a corded unit, and extends a battery life up to 60% because it's cutting easier. The second thing we did is, if you guys are familiar, when you're cutting laminate veneers, you need a high ATB, such as 38 degrees. It gives a beautiful top and bottom finish, right? But it's rough on the side. A 15 degree is good in terms of long life, but it's rough on the top and the bottom. So we put a nice compromise with a 30 degree angle, which gives a flawless, ultimate top, side, and bottom. And then the third thing we did that's radical is we put this double grind, where it's a grind. So right now, if I don't put a grind on a blade and I cut, it's just gonna bounce back, right? You gotta have clearance. So either you create set or you grind on the side. So after we make the first grind, we come back and make a small secondary grind that's almost straight up and down. And what we're doing is we're creating a controlled burn, a polishing to it. And when you cut with this, you'll see the side it's unbelievable. And so now you got to keep moving it. You can't stop because you can create some burning on it, but the results are phenomenal. So what we're going to show, or attempt to show you today, is that with a $50 blade, it's going to blow away any kind of blade on the market, including a Forest $200 woodworking blade. Let's see if we can do that. Okay, Bob, what did you just do?
All right, so this is a piece of shelving. It's melamine shelving. I'm using a Bosch table saw with just a standard insert plate. It's not a zero clearance plate. So there's really no support to the wood fibers inherent in the tool. It's relying entirely on the quality of the blade for the exit cut. On the top surface, decent. On the back side, you get chip out, you get blowout. No bueno, right? So if we compare this to the Diablo, 30 degree, high ATB, it's double grind. Compare, contrast.
There's a lot of, positive here, but still, you'll hear it lacks a lot of technology, and we're doing the same with our Diablo blade, with the anti-vibration designs, with the be able to accept the vibration. Dampen, cuts true, no vibration. So let's give it a go.
Red oak veneer plywood. What's particularly tricky about cutting this stuff is when you're going across the grain of the veneer. So we're going to do second verse, same as the first.
I think it's pretty obvious. I don't think I need to mark it. So, so let's hope. You want to pass that around if you would? So, I mean, think about how exciting that is. You can take just a benchtop table saw on the job site, and you're getting just high performance like you do in your shop with a 3 horsepower stationary saw. So now the basic contractor to the high skilled trim carpenter can really make, it's a woodworker on wheels. You could go to a job site and have that level of flawless performance. And your cost of materials in some of this is $80 a square foot in some of the high-end woods. So once you tear and rip out as we're passing around, you can't go back and sand that. I mean, there's no resanding of that type of material. So the workmanship goes up to a different level.
So I have a couple more up-close personal shots for you, but look at the difference between the Diablo and the Forest, and no more blue tape that you gotta put down before you make your cut. That is really real nice. This was one of my favorite demonstrations because as a woodworker myself, somebody that deals with this type of material, you always have that chip out, that blowout, cut out, whatever. It's a nightmare to deal with. All right, so next up, These are the new, updated, new gen, just released amped recip saw blades. And anybody that works in construction, in the trades, they know how important recip saws and the blades are. So I'm gonna let Russell take this away and just check out how cool this is.
5 minutes on the job site, and you're gonna hear there's a lot of problems with the users out there, and they want longer life, longer longevity, and they have applications they can't do. I mean, what's a very common material for a plumber to cut? Cast iron. Thank you, Vince. And then what are they using today? Or before, what were they using? Chain lock. You know, you snap lock. You got to do on there. It costs $800. You wrap it and you break it, right? And more materials are getting lighter weight, more advanced, lower cost steels that are making it more difficult for the plumber, for any contractor using the recip blade. So we wanted to change the game by being the first in the world to bring carbide into the reciprocating blade territory, expanding applications you can do with your existing saw, right? So now the preferred way, by the way, Charlotte cast iron has like 80% of the market. Charlotte Pipe, thank you. They make cast iron. Charlotte Pipe have 80% now. They recommend Diablo recip blade as the preferred way to cut cast iron, right? Stainless steels, now you can do that. So it's incredible. So for people that don't realize it, Logan, maybe we kind of go back quickly and show bimetal attempting to cut stainless steel, and then what's the power of carbide and what it brings to this application.
Sure. So I have some 2-inch Schedule 40 stainless steel pipe. I'll use the Lennox competitor, and we'll cut with that and see how it does.
Okay, so now the teeth are stripped, it's smoking, and it almost looks like the blade is, you're cutting it backwards on it right now. Because the teeth, this is where the world was just a couple years ago. Now, try a piece of rebar.
Right. Same thing.
So it's done. So it starts a little bit, the teeth strip off. So that's what your limitation was. So when we introduced carbide, and we took the same cutting technology a lot, the same durability, and applied it on reciprocating blades, we saw a big difference.
So I'm going to use a carbide tip amp Diablo for thick metal.
Boom.
Can I go over to rebar, Russell?
Yeah.
All right, great. Same blade. Away. Cut the rebar.
Boom, just like that. And when you're at, yeah, that's strong. That's strong, that's strong. By the way, carbide is bigger than bimetal. I don't know if everybody realizes that. So that's unbelievable, right? And carbide delivers 50 times longer life than what bimetal will do. So a typical bimetal blade is $3 to $4. You talk about 9-inch blade. Carbide's between $10 to $12. So for 50 times longer, you have $6 more bucks, $7 more bucks. But you allow the tool to do applications you couldn't even do before. But the thirst, we keep getting challenged that we want longer life, longer life. We're like, we don't care what it costs. So that's where we introduced the amp range, the amp family. So amp delivers 100 times longer for 33% higher in retail. So if a blade is $12 for carbide, amp is $15, but it doubles the performance. Doubles the performance. And when you're on the job site, still, what's the most expensive cost on a job site? Steaks. Manpower. It's labor. Labor's still the most expensive. So if we could significantly reduce labor, everything we're talking about is pennies, and expand and do new applications that you couldn't do before. It's unbelievable. So today we're introducing, here we go. So right here, here's our new series of amp. So again, bimetal, then we have what we call Demon, which is our carbide, and then this is amp, which is the HPP++, best of the best. See the size of the carbide, it's small little specks on it, and it's unbelievable. So you can do thin gauge. Thin gauge. No, let's show this. Let's do with it. Yep. So that's what we're introducing. Okay, so we'll show you a couple amp products quickly. Have a little fun with this. How are we gonna do this, guys?
All right, we got the same 2-inch piece of Schedule 40 stainless steel. We've got the thick metal amp blade that you just saw cut stainless steel and rebar. But like Russell said, over the last couple of years, our competitors have come out with carbide, right? So we're going to try a carbide solution versus the superior Diablo amp solution.
Yeah, and before you do that too, we have 9 categories in carbide, and our colleagues are coming out with 3 and 4. So now we've already left that, and now we're going to amp. So let's show the difference.
All right. 3, 2, 1.
First in the world, we're breaking through is nail embedded wood. And so we do a lot of little things that are kind of cool. The first thing is our system here. This will fit both a DeWalt, a Milwaukee, and a Dremel. So it's a patented system that slides out. It's no mystery. Some of the colleagues out there will say general purpose, but you got to use a secondary fastener to do it. If you ever use like a washer that was cut in half and you got to slide it on, it's not a world-class experience. The thing will move. This slides on to whatever mechanism that you're using. The other little things that we have is we have this plunge area here. It's a radius tip, and it creates like a little pilot point when you're starting. So think of it difference of having a spatula and trying to start versus a rounded nose of it where it starts on that, and it's actually easier to plunge, but it's also easy to start and get a pilot. So these are little nuances that we do to make it easier for our users on their job site. But okay, let's get back to the exciting thing, nail embedded wood. Logan, how are we going to show this?
All right, so I have the DeWalt, our competitor carbide blade here. I'm going to be cutting through 1x6 material with 3 construction screws. We're going to see how it does. Pay attention to the sound of the tool and also what you see. Hey, does that look familiar? Does it look familiar when you use it? Yeah, we got a little fire here. We need a burn permit. So you can see that it's filing versus cutting. And this is, I think everyone that uses this tool, this is your experience with it. It's a fantastic tool. The applications are absolutely incredible. But right now, the performance, we're not realizing the full potential of this tool. So here, what we've created is a nail embedded wood carbide, but it has a set clearance on it right now. So it'll move much faster. Hopefully it's not going to smoke and burn like this, but let's see, right? Anything can happen. All right, let's see how it goes. Let's see how it goes.
absolutely, I mean, you'll feel it. We encourage you guys to come back and use them. You'll feel it in your wrist, you'll smell it, you'll see it, the vibration, absolutely unbelievable. And we're not expanding into lights and into tool storage and measuring tapes and hand tools, and we're not knocking that at all. We're not knocking it, but we feel like our discipline of saying no is a powerful yes to our focus, and that's what we want to kind of do, is make sure we do something better than anybody else, and we're with them. And so for us, what's important for us, Travis, what's important for us is that we want to introduce something that is truly meets our brand values with innovation, but also solves problems. And so when we looked at the hammer drill bit market once upon a time, what we recognized is that there was a thirst for better solutions than what was being offered, right? And there's two types of users when you're hammer drilling, right? One is, I have to go through rebar, and I don't want to. The second is, I don't want to hit any kind of rebar, but I do. And then it falls apart, right? And so when we looked at that market, we thought we could bring new technology to it. So if we look at a 5/8 inch standard bit, in terms of what's out the tube cutter, this is a standard tube cutter bit on the market. It's a DeWalt. Believe it or not, it's the overwhelming dominant way people are using today. Right here, tube cutters. This costs around 15 bucks, 17 bucks, and you hit rebar, what do? You gotta stop, and maybe you're lucky enough to have a rebar cutter, which by the way, you can't be in a hammer mode for this is rotary. This costs around 40 bucks, and then pick a number of time. It can be 5 minutes, it can be 50 minutes, if you have to get through that. And then you gotta switch it out and go back to your tube cutter. That's what exists today. So we said, hey, wow, there's a great opportunity to reinvent this thing, have game changer technology, so if you hit it, you can continue to get the job done. So what we did is we created a full carbide head 4-cutter system that takes small bites of the rebar, that's very low vibration, it's very cost effective. If the tube cutter is $17, this is $23 to $25, so not a lot of money. And if you hit rebar, you can get through it better than any kind of rebar cutter. So game changer. And this right now is reinventing the industry, and it's leading, we're growing so, and overwhelming, dominating. Because once your user, once your customer tries this, they'll never go back. So that is super exciting right now. Now we're seeing the market starting to come in with full carbide head, which is a great compliment, right? They're chasing your copy. But we're also going to show you that all carbide isn't created equal. So first, let's do this. Let's show the difference of a tube cutter versus a full carbide head, so you can see what these users are dealing with. So how are we going to do this?
So we got two number 9 pieces of rebar here, so there's no way we can miss that, right? So this is the standard tube cutter when it hits rebar. All right, let it rip. So it's already chipped off the edge of that. I mean, and it probably is going to do damage to the tool when it gets hung up on that rebar. So the solution is that full carbide head Diablo rebar demon. Let's see what we got. Right there it is. So that full carbide head, again, it's controlled movement of that rebar removal out of the hole, continue to finish the hole that you need in the concrete, exactly where you started.
So in general, the tube cutter system on the market can handle heats. Can handle heats, Jason, up to 800 degrees. Can handle up to 800 degrees. You need to be able to handle 1200 degrees to go through rebar. And these bits right here, full carbide head, can handle up to 1800 degrees. 1800 degrees. So it can take the heat and get the job done. And that is critical for our design. So, but now some individuals are introducing full carbide head, and that's great. It's a beautiful thing, and it's better than the tube cutter system on the marketplace. But we're going to show you here quickly that all carbide, full carbide, it's not created equal. So let's see if we can do this.
Yeah, let's see.
Yeah.
So we got to compare the product here, full carbide head. already broken tip.
Right. So you can see that it pops off very good. So, you know, there's so much in the technology of the carbide is the welding that you have itself to be able to take that heat. So it's not just about putting carbide on. So we're excited about that, and it's really changing the game out there. So, but we went out to the market, and if you look at a lot of applications, you know, they want to be able to drill and fill, want to reduce dust, and you know that creating all this time is money. When you make these holes, right now, it's very cumbersome for users to be able to clean them. In fact, right now, what are some of the applications? They're using a pipe fitter, pipe cleaner. They use this, they put it in, they pump, they drill, and then they have to try to blow it out. They use a pipe fitter. It's a very slow, cumbersome problem if you're putting anchors. But also, if you reduce dust itself, good things happen. Anytime you're drilling in concrete and you have to regrind and regrind or re-drill, it's like you're drilling with sandpaper. You know, it dulls the cutting edge of the bit itself right now, so it's not great. So if you can take that dust and remove it, good things happen, right? So the market historically, about 10 years ago, came up with these hollow bits, right? And it was a great idea. The whole idea was I could drill, I could pull out the dust, pull it, and you make it away, and then I don't have to clean out the hole. I can go right into mounting my anchor. The problem is the idea was great, but the execution was poor. Why? Because this is hollow itself. It's not a very strong, robust area. You also have insert carbide, just like what we showed you. You hit rebar, it's not very durable, it's not very long itself. You have these holes that try to suck up the dust itself, and they get clogged very, very easily. And then the last and probably the most limiting thing on this product is the cost. These things cost over $200. And it's amazing, we were just at job sites 2 weeks ago, and how many people are still buying them because they have to. They have an application where you have an environment. If you're in a hospital, if you're enclosed, if you're in a working environment, they'll say zero dust. So the idea is great, the execution is poor. Everybody's like, hey man, you know, great idea, but I'm not gonna pay $200 for it. You know, I'm paying $15 to $22 today, and you want me to go to $200, right? So we looked at it, we said, we think there's a huge market potential to get what the users want and make it cost effective, all centered around productivity. Productivity, productivity, productivity. Everything we're doing now is around productivity. And we're not looking for a niche where you just need no dust environment. We're looking at these next standard on how you want to go to market when you're drilling for solution concrete. So, to show what we have here, the design, here we go. All right, so here's the design itself. So the first thing that we did, the bit itself is core, is solid. Unlike the hollow bit itself, this thing is solid. It's a solid core. And then you have the carbide head on it. So unlike the insert knives, you have carbide. So you can hit rebar, you can take the heat, go up to 1800 degrees versus the existing design that can only take around 800. This can take the heat. But then we put a stainless steel sleeve around it. I'll show you here. And we put a sleeve around it here. So very high quality. So what it's doing is sucking up through this whole sleeve that's very high quality. And we can get up to 97% dust extracted with a HEPA dust extractor. 97%. So that's killer. And the other thing from a cost efficiency we've done is we allow the vacuum adapter to be removed, unlike the existing systems, so you can pull it off, and you have one size that fits all SDS Plus and one size that fits all SDS Max. So the retail we're looking for, depending on the size, it's going to vary, but for that light comparison of a tube cutter at $17, our full carbide head at $23, this will hit around $55 to $60. Game changer versus the $200 in the market. So now there's no reason why everybody can't use this bit for every application. And the productivity factor, it's going to make these users. It's incredible, and what a great opportunity to introduce this product now with cordless technology improvement, with HEPA vacuums, dust extractor. Now, more important, just think about 8, 9 years ago when Hollow bins were introduced, people were dragging around a vacuum cleaner. You're not hanging outside of a building and going to use that. It's just not realistic. Here, now, you have backpacks, you handhold area, even tools that have HEPA vacuums. Now, the market is right to use this as the new normal, you know, for every kind of drilling application for concrete. You guys fired up? Yeah. Fired up? Ready to tell the world about this thing? So we're launching this. Is the first launch here. You guys are the first ones to see this. We will start shipping hopefully April. If not, there's a couple other guys I want you to talk to over here. But it'll be late second quarter that we'll be introducing and shipping to the market. And then I think all of us get together, we talk about this right. We're going to really solve true issues of the job site today. And we're going to radically improve productivity. And we're not even talking about, you know, the best for the world part, which is being healthier, dust free. If you guys ever go to a job site, what these conditions are absolutely terrible. We have the power to change all that. And so hopefully you guys are excited about that.
You have to drill and you're going to generate dust. So we're going to just show you how much dust is generated on the job site with a standard bit, and then that brush blow method, which the anchor companies recommend. It has to be done before you install an anchor. So here we go. So one hole is at 8-inch hole depth, preparing for doweling. That's just the dust generated outside, right? So exposed to everybody, myself and everybody on the job site. Now, you got to get in here, and first thing I got to do usually is 3 or 4 pumps. More dust, still got dust, and then you got to grab the brush, right? You got to go back and make sure you keep track of this. Right? And now we got to go blow again. So back in the hole. And there's still residue left. That's one hole. And now we can proceed with our mechanical anchor, our concrete screw, or our epoxy anchoring preparation. So how do we eliminate all those steps? Eliminate all that dust, eliminate all those steps, and breed protection and security on the job site, but also allow them to work as quickly as possible with more cordless drills. So the solution is going to be the amped rebar demon. All right, let's go. The same situation. Hold on. All right, I'm ready. A little bit of surface debris there, but again, if you compare the two, dust is almost, and that's on the exterior. So let's take a look, see what happens on the inside. Almost no dust, right? So immediately drill to fill, drill the hole, immediately go to concrete screws, mechanical anchors, epoxy, one step. So there it is.
There it is. Thanks. Rebar demon. Good job.
That's the end of the work.
Okay, so 2 cutter bits, right? This was a big, after high-speed steel got out of the concrete world, this was the name of the game, right? It's a strip of carbide, 2 cutters. Problem was, reinforced concrete started becoming more and more prevalent, okay? Now you can't spit on a building and not hit one that's reinforced with, you know, 1 million pounds of rebar. How do you get through the rebar? Well, pull out, move the hole up, I hit rebar again, I'm going to move the hole up here. So I'm just kind of searching for where it goes. Yep. Either that or I have to go through that rebar to bring out the rebar cutter. Right? It's an extra 40 to 60 bucks depending on what size you're drilling. Okay, so now it's a 2-part system. Not only that, but what I just found out is that if I'm drilling with this Bosch rotary hammer,
and I hit rebar, I've got to switch this to rotary only mode for my rebar cutter, right? I don't want to be hammering on that.
Right.
There's no rotary function on this thing.
Nice.
Okay, so I gotta go, oh crap, I gotta go over here. So you make sure this one's got a, yep, that one's got a rotary only. Put that one in there, and then go into my hole and hope to God I can sit there for a while and cut the concrete, right?
Right.
How beneficial would it be to take one bit and go through rebar, not have to poke around, filling holes on the back end, tons of rework. How great would it be to have one bit? Okay, so this is the Diablo solution, okay? It's a full carbide head, 4 cutters, okay? Now there's a few of these on the market and everybody's kind of bragging about it and stuff like that, and I'll show this one. This is a brand X, okay? Full carbide head, but what does that geometry look like to you?
Not good.
Looks like a 2-cutter with shoulders, right?
Right.
So what happens if I hit rebar?
Breaking.
Breaks, right? 26 bucks is what I paid for that. Down the drain, okay? So I'm gonna stick with Diablo. We're gonna go through some rebar.
We're gonna go through rebar into concrete. Right through.
Right through. You see any damage on that?
Nope.
Okay, now what's important about drilling holes? I'm filling it with something,
Sure.
right? So whether that's mechanical or chemical, the concentricity of the hole, the shape of the hole, should be uniform throughout the whole hole, right?
Yep.
I don't want a 3/8 hole in the top and a 5/8 on the bottom.
Right.
Okay, so walk with me over here. So here's a piece of plated steel. I'm going to give you a 3/8 impression. After drilling through concrete, that's a perfect 3/8 hole.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's talk geometry. You see that point? Remember we were looking at brand X, had that kind of rounded over. How many times are guys drilling like this?
Right.
It's hard to set that thing. They skate around, they bore out the hole. You got a wide top hole and a skinny little bottom. Come over here. I'm gonna drill right into the wall. And watch how quickly this thing gets set. Perfect 3/8 hole.
That's awesome.
Every single time.
That's awesome,
So
Connor.
through rebar, great holes, great impressions, great hole value for your anchors. Price.
What are you looking at?
What are we looking at? 2-cutter pricing.
20 bucks?
This retails for $8.97.
How much?
$8.97.
No, $8.97 for that.
25 pack gets that down to $5 a pop.
$5.
It's the same as the 2-cutter.
That is awesome, man.
Oh, you're okay.
So they literally just went 2 times. They went through it 2 times where a competitor didn't even make it through the first time. That is real nasty.
So there you go, all. The video was a little bit longer, but I wanted you to be able to experience what I was able to experience and let them do the talking because they did just such a fantastic job. And this is why I love the Diablo brand. Now, if you don't believe me, go out to the World of Concrete. It's still going on right now as this video goes live. Go to the Diablo booth and see it for yourself. That's all I can tell you. Fantastic stuff. I want to know what you think. Now, I will have other videos from the World of Concrete coming up in the next day or two. If you want to see that, get subscribed, hit the bell notification. We'll be back with more videos soon.